You want to just jump right into it?
Uh, man,
What?
I little preview, but like I felt watching this movie the same hype and excitement that I felt while watching Nope last year. So
I see it. I see it.
so I think we should just jump right into it because there's a lot to talk about this movie.
Pocket Chema, my man. Hit the intro.
Thank you for welcoming us into your headphones. My name is Chema.
I'm Eddie.
Reviewing challengers, and this is the rollback. Her game, her rules. Tennis player turned coach Tashi has taken her husband Art and transformed him into a world famous Grand Slam champion. To jolt him out of his recent losing streak, she signs him up for a challenger event close to the lowest level of pro tournament, where he finds himself standing across the net from his former best friend and Tashi's former boyfriend. So this is the new movie directed by Luca Guadagnino, one of the most exciting and original directors I think working today. Director of movies like Call Me by Your Name, the Suspiria remake, Bones and All, and A Bigger Splash, and now Challengers, starring Zendaya, Mike Faist, Josh O'Connor, Darnell Appling, Brian Dew, Shane T. Harris, and other colorful actors. So, new movie, new Luca, new Zendaya joint. A movie about tennis and sex, but more about sex than tennis. So, I know very little about tennis, but I know a lot about other things. And I would like, if this review for this movie is treated with a seriousness as we can go. I know it's usual that we do our jokes, we do our quips and everything, and that's all fine and great. But I think this movie genuinely deserves to be taken super seriously because my God, what an exciting piece of media did we get this week. So, what did you think about Challengers, first of all?
I let me say this. To start,
Mhm.
Challengers is about tennis the same way Rocky's about boxing. It's not.
Yeah.
Um, I went
Or
into this.
Whiplash about drumming. Yeah. Or Whiplash about drumming. Like
Yeah.
it's yeah.
No, exactly. I'll say this, and this is, if nothing, a very much a not damning indictment, but more like I want you to understand how gravity and how good this was. I went into this very disinterested, like, okay, like I'm watching a movie. Hopefully it's good, but I don't know what to expect. The trailers never got me hyped. Within the first 10 minutes, I was sold and I was in it.
Mhm.
I don't know what the fuck it was. Maybe it was because I gravitated towards the characters. Maybe it's because I understood them and their motivations, or maybe it was just like the rawness of like seeing the world of tennis. Like you never see this. I don't know much about tennis. I never see professional athletes in preparation, but they show you, the amount of work that goes into it, the scars, the how it hammers you. And I don't know what hooked me, but this movie hooked me. And before I knew it, I wasn't paying attention to anything else but what was going on in this film. So outstanding, genuinely all the way through. I think there's a lot to go through. I think I texted you and Fernie how I'm like, none of these are good people. No, I said, what was it? None of these are good people, but they're interesting. And that makes them more realistic. Because in the real world, no one is 100% a good person.
Mhm.
You're just, you're the villain in someone's story, you're the hero in your own or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, I really enjoyed this film. Shockingly, I did not expect to, but I did. But what about you? What was your, how did you go into this? Did you like have high expectations or what?
I saw one of the best trailers that I've ever seen in my life was the first trailer for Challengers. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it's an amazing trailer. It's set to several scenes of the movie, and it's all set to Rihanna's song S&M.
Yeah.
and it is freaking wonderful. It is just an amazing trailer. And I was happy that a lot of the important parts of the movie are not in the trailer. They are very much saved for the movie. Um, what? So my expectation was good. Like I love Luca. To me, Luca is one of the most original directors working today, and he has such a unique vision and such a unique passion for everything. So he has. So first of all, he directed, by the script was written by Justin Kurskis, who is also writing the next Luca movie, Queer. Something fun fact about Mr. Justin Kurskis: he is married to the director, the writer and director of the movie Past Lives. So these two have written movies about a couple and a third person. I don't know what happened in their lives to make them write about this, but I am interested, if
I
anything, because I love tea. So
I will stand on this. I think if challengers, I think if they had been a throuple, all their problems would have been solved. I'm just saying.
see, that's the thing, and I think and you say that as a joke, but I think it's actually an important plot point.
I'm
I
not
saw
joking.
no, here's the thing. That's why I said from the beginning, we gotta treat this as a serious movie, because I saw a ton of very, very stupid comments about this movie.
No, like
Uh,
what? I won't. I've only heard positive things. What did you hear?
Well, for once, there's a scene in the movie where the three characters are in a hotel room, probably the most intimate scene in the movie,
Yeah.
and they start making out, like all three of them, and the scene goes long, like it really goes for it. Like I thought I was watching a Gaspar Noé joint for a second, and I heard this woman behind me that was like disgusting, and I was like, "What did you think you came to see, woman? Like, what did you think you came to see?"
They're
Anyway,
teenagers. It's also
anyway,
very accurate, I would say. Like most.
yeah. Yeah, extremely. Um, there's a lot of this that I really like. First of all, I love the three main characters. They're all so different, so developed, and in very little interactions, in very little that we see of them, done by movements, by showing us. They give us enough to see, but also enough for us to peel more. This is what I was saying when we did the late night with the devil review. I don't like it when they tell me everything. And in this one, I wasn't told everything. I was shown a lot. Like there's a lot of scenes that work just visually. There's a great scene where the character played by Josh O'Connor, Patrick Swayze, Patrick arrives to the tournament and he slept on his car, and they're showing how he's in his sauna like a little bit before his first match, and he's surrounded by all these guys, and he's pops out his phone is broken, and he's going through Tinder, just like swiping on everyone, and then he stops and he sees a guy and he swipes on him. With this, a lot is told to us. First, that after his experience with art, he probably realized that he was bisexual, and two, that he's not below banging a dude for roof. So that's how broke this guy is. Um,
I, okay, this is not a joke. This is a statement.
yeah.
I remember I texted you guys and I was like, I don't feel sorry for him at all. I don't, because him sleeping in his car, in his case,
Yeah.
I will stand that there are people of lesser means that have no choice, and those people have my sympathy and my condolences. This motherfucker is sleeping in his car because he wants to play tennis. I'm sorry, you can be the coach for some rich billionaire's kid. So I don't feel sorry for him in any capacity.
It's not the same.
It's not. It's not.
No, like it's not the same. Like I understood him.
That's fair.
It's
But what do you
not the
mean?
same. It's not the same living in your van, trying to make it as like an artist, for example.
Uh-huh.
Like this is the Soul dilemma. Like it's the dilemma from the movie Soul. Like the guy wants to be a musician, not a teaching musician.
Hmm.
Like there's a difference.
But they even Zendaya even says it later on in the film. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Tashi says it later on in the film.
Tashi, yeah.
He squandered his talent.
Yeah.
He had a chance.
Because he didn't practice. He just coasted on talent alone. And
Oh,
And yeah, but here's the thing, and that is what creates great. This is what creates great duality. Mike Faist and Josh O'Connor playing Art and Patrick. These two have amazing chemistry, almost to the point where they are completely synchronized in their movements. Like the way they walk, like they would walk with the same leg above the other. When they would turn at the same time. When they would put their backs on the floor, they would throw them at the same time. Whenever they would get their trophies, they would lift them up at the same time. Everything about them was so sick. Whenever they would take a swig of their drink, they would do it at the same time. Their chemistry was amazing. And it's amazing to see that when they're younger and then when they're older and they're playing against each other, where that symmetry is gone and they don't have that anymore. And this creates a lot of great parallels. There's a great scene at the beginning where they win this tournament by playing together, that they're playing on the same side, and they each get a little trophy. And they lift them up at the same time, and then they turn it to each other, and then they kiss it at the same time. And it literally mirrors the scene where they're kissing her at the same time.
Well played.
It's amazing. Because you know what that means, right?
She's the trophy?
She's the trophy, man. It's perfect. It's exactly what they needed. They were growing up. They were getting stale. They were playing on the same team, but never against each other. They said this a lot. They said like, oh, like maybe one day we'll play professional against each other. And when they finally did, it was for this girl. It was because this girl was there. And you know what? They needed that. They needed that fire to keep them going. If the thing that she says in the movie is true, if they say that tennis is a relationship, if it's like sex, if it's like that, these two were on opposite ends, and she's the ball. She showed up, and she is making them move. She's making them move, man, and they need each other. They all three need each other. She says it from the very beginning. They ask her, "What do you want?" She wants, "I want to see some good fucking tennis. Like that's all I want to see." And then at the end, when Art asks her, like, do you just want to see good tennis? And she goes like, what else would I want? Like, what else would I need? It's very clear. She's the trophy and they need her. But what happens when they break up? What happens when they all leave? Okay. Art gets the girl. Tashi and Art are married. They have a kid and everything. They are miserable. They are miserable together. They have a kid that they constantly say they're not taking care of her. They always leave her to the grandma. They're constantly leaving it to the grandma. And Tasha's just focused on, because she's living vicariously through Art. She's living vicariously through what she can do because she's angry and upset that he was able to fully heal while she cannot. So of course she's upset. He's upset because he likes tennis, but he doesn't love tennis. Like he would rather do literally anything else. And Tashi can't fucking handle that shit because she wants it more than he wants it. But you know who wants it more? Patrick. Patrick wants it more. That's why it pisses her off that he wants to keep playing even though he's a lot older and she doesn't want to. And then finally at the end, that's what makes them explode. That's why at the end they're happy even though they're angry. Because that fire, that competitiveness that the three have makes them happy, gives them something to work towards. Mm-hmm. Art wanting to beat Patrick perfectly mirrors him wanting to beat constantly, and it only works if that girl is in the middle. It only works like that because neither of them would care if it wasn't for her. And they have that last final like excitement moment when he very subtly, in a frame that I think is going to be etched into movie history, when he puts the ball in the racket to tell him like, I fucked your wife. Like that. My God, the last 20 to 25 minutes of this movie are pure adrenaline. They are amazing. And in ways that like, oh my God, like just, I needed a nap after this. Like I was so hyped. I was like, we are so back, man. Just watching this movie, we are so back. And there's so much to discuss here. There's so much. I already said like a lot of what I wanted to say, But man, there's just I think I adore this movie because it really gave me a lot for me to peel and just constantly be coming back to. There's a
Yeah.
lot here, and I think we're gonna be discussing it in the next few years. So, what else did you like about the movie?
Jesus. Uh, God damn, man. Uh,
Yeah, there's a lot.
there is. So you mentioned something with what was it? What was it? Late Night with the Devil. Show Don't
Yeah,
Tell. This movie has layers on layers on layers. And I think one of the reasons I think the first big hook that really made me like this movie was Tashi, simply because she is complicated but also a puppet master. Just from that first experience where she kind of manipulates both Art and Patrick into how they talk to each other, saying like, okay, who's this, who's that, getting them on the bed with her. They have like a three-way makeout, and she manipulates them into kissing each other. And she's
yeah,
just watching and she's enjoying the fact that like I got what I wanted. Also, you two are attracted to each other, just bone already. Like there's so much going on there. And then we see when they're older how she is still manipulating everyone and everything. And I'm not saying that in a bad way, as in like, oh, she's evil. I'm saying she's playing 3D chess while they think that they're playing tic-tac-toe, if that makes sense. Um, in a sense, she doesn't lose in this situation in any capacity. Either Art gets his confidence, goes on to get the grand slam, and boom, like the goal is achieved, or Art loses, she leaves him, potentially coaches Patrick to be great because he still has that fire in him. There's not
yeah.
a she doesn't lose, but also the way she plays them. I think she knew, I think I gotta believe some part of her knew Art is gonna find out that I slept with Patrick. And either Patrick purposefully throws the game by me sleeping with him, or maybe that pisses Art enough off to finally unleash like that hunger that died a while back. I
Yeah.
think between all that, it was purposeful. And I like that. I like having such an intelligent main character. I get like they all three share it, and I do agree they're all co-leads, but Zendaya plays her masterfully. Also, it's weird to see Zendaya with a child, but also now I see her as more of an adult than as a 19-year-old or 18-year-old kid. Weird, but okay. She's
Yeah.
27.
She's
Um,
27. Yeah.
yeah, but I like how also they convey like her body gives out on her. She has a hunger, but her body says no mas. I don't know those little things like that. And then we get Art, the good guy, who's again more reality stricken than most characters because he's a good guy who's somewhat of a manipulative snake. Like I understand she cheats, but also, hey guys, there's something to be said about a scumbag who would actively try to steal his best friend's girl.
Yeah. I like that we even have a moment where like Patrick even looks at him like I am excited that something gets you excited, even if that's my girlfriend, you know?
Yeah, which is weird.
Uh no, it's not weird. That's their relationship that's been to a T. Did you notice that they're always eating phallic shaped foods together?
Oh my God, the churros. I didn't put the
Churro, hot
banana in.
dog, banana. Like this is a constant thing that is happening. They were going to jump each other's bones at one point or another. Like this was always bound to happen.
I don't know why they did it. I mean, we're in modern America, guys. You could.
And it's interesting. Like this is constant. There's a really subtle moment, really subtle scene where they're eating the churro actually, where like they sit together and like before Art can even sit, Patrick kind of like
Oh, Scoot
grabs
closer.
his yeah, scoots it closer. Like he wants him closer. He wants him to either one, fall for him, or two, like tease him enough to get him angry or upset, just so he can also ignite that fire in him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's their constant. All three of them are, for the lack of a better word, constantly turning each other on. That goes beyond sexually, but it's mainly sexually.
You're not wrong, man.
Yeah.
I think part of what I also really enjoyed about it was also I understood. I didn't experience it, but I understood the youthful banter and playing. I'm old. I'm 30 years old, but I still remember, being in high school with your hormones going crazy and like, oh, y'all want to go grab a beer? We're 18. We're not supposed to have this, but let's all share this one beer. Like stupid shit like that, hanging out. It was every teenage boy's dream to have a girl in a hotel room, right? Um, I think those little aspects make it feel more realistic and maybe sink you more into the story because you see, oh yeah, I remember being young and stupid once. I remember this.
Mhm.
I don't know, man. There was just so much going on that made me enjoy the film. And you're right, part of it is also the story between the three of them, how they drive each other, how they push each other, how they have a very complicated relationship, all of them, with each other, whether they're former best friends, former brothers, which, I mean, fuck, we all know how that feels. Um, but also in this particular case, they're scorned lovers almost. You abandoned me, you left me behind in that way. Um, God damn, this movie feels so true to life. I really, really enjoyed it. Um, they really just should have been a power thruple. Done.
I mean, it's most likely what's going to happen afterwards. They're going to realize that they're going to need each other constantly, which is also something that I wanted to add here. As much as we're liking like the dynamic and the relationship and the power play and everything, the movie's shot amazingly. Like it
Beautiful.
uses very not just the way it looks, but like it's so experimental in the way that it works. Like there's a great scene where like the game the it, as matches tend to go, we start to see it from different perspectives. First, from really close to their faces, we feel every drop of sweat that they're
Oh,
that
these
they're
fuckers are
that they're
working out.
shooting. Yeah, and then suddenly, like in a brilliant move of cinema experimentation, the perspective of the movie changes to their chest, and we see everything from their point of view. And then, man, I wanted to cry. This was so beautiful. We get the movie from the perspective of the ball
Yeah,
while
I
they're
like that
throwing
part.
it. It is incredible. I don't even know how they did it. Like, did they put a camera in the ball? How many cameras did they destroy while doing that? Like, how expensive was that? It looked amazing. Like the way it was going back and forth, and it was very short, but it lasted. And then there's a fantastic moment where like we see the game from underneath them, as if they were playing in a clear tennis court. How did they do that? Like how did they record it from the bottom? Like
Great CGI, man.
I want to believe that it's practical in some way, but like it was amazing. Like, and you know why? You know why this movie is decided to do that?
Why?
So rumor says that Luca doesn't care about tennis. Like he doesn't like tennis. Uh
Okay.
yeah, so he just took the script. He didn't write the script, so he just took the script. And he was sitting down like in his room watching like tennis matches, and he was bored out of his mind. So he changed the channel, and you know what he landed on?
What?
Anime.
Oh shit. Okay.
And apparently a lot of this, a lot of those very like experimental scenes come from anime inspiration. So I don't know what specific anime he was watching, but there is a little bit of that visual, like in the same way that we saw it in Creed 3. Um, yeah, it was just really interesting that they decided to do something like that.
You know, I doubt it. But do you think this movie is gonna inspire anyone to start playing tennis?
Probably. I don't doubt it.
My kids are now forbidden to play tennis.
They're not? Or they
They are
are?
forbidden now from playing tennis. I will not allow it.
Why?
I don't want them to end up like any of these three fucks.
Well, they could end up like these three fucks in like a different sport or like a
I don't know, like
different
a
sport.
healthy, like healthy people that are happy with their lives that don't pawn off their children.
They're all pretty fit. They're pretty healthy.
Okay, at best, they're neglectful parents. At worst, they're addicted to a sport that will never support them and they live in their car.
Maybe we should
None of them
wait
are
on
good
having
people,
children.
but like I like that. I like that. I don't think none of these three are good people. And I love that. I love how flawed they are, but all their flaws are to some degree understandable and very realistic. I think there are traits in each of them that we all have that granted they're cranked up to 11, but they're good traits to have in your characters because they make them complicated and interesting. Otherwise, this movie would have been boring as fuck. Which I'll be honest, I thought it was going to be boring as fuck. I was very, very wrong, and I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, 2 hours of just
Kino.
innovative, invigorating, just straight up kino, like straight up cinema. Which I have to shout out another one of the big players in the movie, and that is that score. That score
That's
by
true.
Atticus Ross and the other guy. God, what the fuck's his name?
Fuck Atlanta.
What? No, it's Atticus Ross and Trent Reznor. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, Nine Inch Nails, Nine Inch Nails guy. Yeah. So these two have been making some of the best music scores like for the last few years. Like ever since they made the score for the Social Network, I have been like freaking in love with their music. So the Social Network, Gone Girl, they did the score to Soul. They did the score to the new Ninja Turtles. They did the score for the Watchmen show. They have done just amazing composing. And this is probably my favorite score by them since Soul and since Social Network. So big fan of this one. I cannot wait to drive listening to this. Like I'm going to be driving. I want it to be night. I want it to be just after it rains. I want it to be playing loud enough. I wanna speed and then I want to crash and I want the song to still be playing. Like I need it. Like that's how much I love this score.
Ladies and
So
gentlemen, we do not recommend that you listen to the score while driving and with the intention of colliding with something. Just saying. For
I've
legal,
driven to
say that.
I've driven to the Batman score, to the Batmobile score. So
Ladies and gentlemen, we still do not recommend, no matter how badass the score will be, that you collide into anything on purpose.
can
Anyway.
never do nothing in this house.
uh,
Anyway, yeah, the score, that score playing in the last scene was absolutely incredible.
speaking of the last scene, I do want to mention this, and I did look it up. It's ambiguous who won. No,
Um,
it, go ahead, you first.
so here's the thing. Yes, but also no, but no, but also yes. So technically, Patrick wins.
Mhm. Really? Because I was told that there's no official score. Like from their movement and their actions, it's unknown if Patrick or Art won, depending on when Art hit the ball on what side of the net he was on.
Art loses because he touches the net. If you touch the net, it's you lose the point immediately.
Mhm.
However, it was a tiebreaker set, which means that you need 7 points, and that was just the first one.
Yeah.
So we really don't know who wins, but the first point definitely went to Patrick.
Which it also, I think, if I have one criticism, I think I will throw one criticism at the editing of this film. The part where Zendaya yells, "Ah," at the very end, she smiles just for a split second there.
Yeah,
Because, and you're right. It does move towards the whole, like, he has his fire back. We're going to do this. I think I would have rather them cut it right before the smile to where it's like, I'm not sure if she's yelling because he did great, because he won, or because he lost and she's frustrated. I kind of wish they had cut it right before the smile. I am more than okay with being wrong,
I
but I
think
wish they had done that. That's it.
I think they show the smile because they're also smiling, like the
Yeah.
two of them. Like Art has his confidence back, Patrick has his energy rivalry back, and she's happy because she's watching some real fucking good tennis,
Also, remember
which is
the
what she wanted.
the only other time that I think we saw her yell in the movie is when she beats that other girl earlier in the film.
Yeah,
When she screams like, "Yeah."
same thing. She yells, "Come on!" Yeah,
Yeah. No, maybe you're right. I am more than okay with being wrong in this one.
yeah. I think they make because the three of them smile at the end because they all get what they wanted and they realize that what they needed was each other.
What
In
they
order
truly
for
needed
them
was love.
to what they truly needed was a real nice. Then I don't know where I was going. Anyway, shout out to Zendaya, who has been has this whole time played really really good characters, really kind-hearted characters, and she finally gets to play a real bitch. And man, she does it well.
She I feel like it's because she's been so smart at crafting her characters to be good character like heroes. That way we cheer for her. But I think if she goes into her villain era for the next couple of years, I wouldn't hate it.
Yeah, me neither. I mean, she does really well in this. This is a really good performance for her to have in her resume. When we're talking about her like 10, 15, 20 years, and we start going back to like her whole, to like her late 20s era, we're going to talk about Dune, we're going to talk about Spider-Man, but we're going to talk about challengers.
Do you think
And maybe it's a little early. This could be Oscar material for her.
it might be. I think we'll look back on this as this is her Mean Girls to Rachel McAdams, if that makes sense. Like a solid breakout performance that she steals the show she did not if it wasn't her show yet, she stole it.
Yeah. She's absolutely incredible. She keeps working with great directors. She keeps doing great characters. She is a star. Cannot wait to see where her career goes next. And everything about this movie is just fantastic. Like even the poster is amazing.
Oh,
Like,
with her and the sunglasses with the two guys playing.
yeah, like it's a hand drawn poster, like a real one. This is a poster that I think I'm gonna end up seeing in like, I'm gonna people are gonna put it in their dorm rooms. It is freaking incredible. Um,
I can only hope that you're right.
yeah, and just the whole movie is great. Like I cannot like I see it much like Nope last year. I see it as a genuine like it could be a new modern classic if it has the legs. But I think it will. And also, we're talking about Zendaya, but Mike Faist and Josh O'Connor, they do not fall behind. They are also very important to this. Mike Faist, in my opinion, was one of the best parts of the West Side Story remake that Spielberg did.
Yeah.
Like, I think he's one of the main reasons to see that movie. He's freaking incredible. To me, he was robbed of even an Oscar nomination. And Josh O'Connor, he's so good. He was so good in Emma. He was so good in Cinderella. I think he has another movie coming out in a few weeks called The Chimera, which I cannot wait to see. But all three of these, perfectly casted. I saw that there were rumors of other actors that were going to play these characters. I'm so glad they didn't. I'm so glad these were the people that stayed. Man, I freaking love this movie.
Agreed. What was your rating?
Yeah, it's a 10. It's a 10 out of 10. Man, like
Fair.
this is a 10 out of 10. It's one of those movies that just like if it doesn't end up in my top 3 of the year, I'm gonna be surprised. Like the year needs to suck for this to not end up in my top 3. Like and even then, like this movie might put up a bit of a fight. It is that incredible.
Fair. Okay. I'll be honest, I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. I really, really enjoyed it. I really, really liked it. Invested in all the characters. Like I don't have a lot of negative things to say about it.
Mhm.
Actually, I think I only ever said one thing. It was just cut that one part at the end, and that's it. Like I have no notes. There's no version of this where I'm like, well, they presented the character like this. Like, no, it's perfect. It's like trying to take a scene out of Inception. It doesn't work. You can't move anything, otherwise it's not perfect.
Yeah.
But
Also, last shout out to Darnell Appling who plays the umpire. He was fantastic. He was super funny.
I agreed. He was funny. I think he's in Deus, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah. Um, But yeah, folks, I think that's gonna wrap it up for this episode of the Rollback.
Definitely. Thank you so much for joining us. Please go watch this movie if you haven't seen it. Um, Honestly surprised if you made it this far, but go watch it again. This movie deserves to honestly be a blockbuster. We should talk about this movie a lot in the future.
Definitely.
Thank you so much for joining us. Next week, what are we doing next week?
Fuck if I know, man. What are we doing next
Are we
week?
doing, are we doing Fall Guy? Like, what are we doing next week?
Do you want to review Rebel Moon parts 1 and 2 or Fall Guy?
I will be. How honest can I be with you? How honest can I be with our listeners?
Very, dude. This is our fucking podcast.
This is okay. Then I will be very, very honest with you. You could not pay me to watch Rebel Moon Part Two.
What if Zack Snyder offered us a $50,000 endorsement deal, but we have to review Rebel Moon? But we don't have to say positive things, but we do have to watch and review it.
Oh, then sure. He seems like a lovely guy.
Oh, okay. So your soul is for sale, essentially.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like I'm a bit of a slut that way. Like it is, and it is completely okay. But I would rather talk about Fall Guy, or if you want to talk about Boy Kills World, that also seems like a pretty fun movie.
I'm down for either or. Fuck it. You will find out next week. Is it gonna be Fall Guy? Is it Boy Kills World? Is it both? Probably not, but we'll find out anyway.
It's most likely going to be Fall Guy, but we'll see. Thank you so much for joining us. My name was Chama,
I've been Eddie.
and this was the Rollback. Signing off with a reminder that if you complain that this movie had a lot of back and forth between the past and the present, and that made you feel weird, guess what? It's a tennis movie. It's a back and forth. It was on purpose. Good night, everyone.